What's up guys, JayFerGaming here and welcome to my review of the 2014 Monaco Grand Prix. Bear with me a little bit, I'm currently a bit ill so I'll probably sound a bit weird. But yesterday was a fantastic race in my opinion. I've always loved Monaco because even though some people find it quite boring because there's not too much overtaking usually, I like the strategic side of it and I found that really entertaining. But obviously yesterday there were overtakes and there were quite a few crashes as well, so probably one of the best races of the season, I'd say, on par with Bahrain, because the season so far has been disappointing in my opinion, but I really enjoyed yesterday, hope you guys did too. So, obviously the big incident in qualifying was Rosberg going off at I can't remember the turn, we'll say turn 6 or 7, to bring out the yellow flags. Obviously Lewis Hamilton fanboys saying he did it on purpose. In my opinion, he did not at all, because Rosberg's not that type of driver, you can tell. But though it is his first bid for the title, I don't think he'd get desperate and do that kind of thing. He was the fastest all weekend, he's a Monaco specialist, and I don't think he'd have done that. And Hamilton was being pretty whingy this weekend, saying him and Rosberg aren't friends, but from the start in the race, them two were obviously on the front row. Raikkonen got an amazing start from 6th up to 4th, overtook Alonso, because his start was pretty on par with Alonso's, but Alonso got blocked out by the Red Bulls. And Ricciardo, not the best starter, was down to 5th. Perez got taken out, well, not really taken out, he was involved in an incident with Button. It was definitely Perez's fault, he turned in on Button and Button had no chance of getting out the way. And it caused a bit of nearly a pile-up. Some cars had to go really slow and nearly blocked the track, so that would have been, it was a safety car even. And from that restart, obviously Vettel retired and he's definitely been given Mark Webber's car this season. But yeah, Ricciardo's definitely outperforming Vettel so far this season. I'm really surprised. And as you can see, I am driving in a Marussia because of Jules Bianchi and his fantastic performance. From the start of the video, the driving wasn't the best, but I hadn't driven in a while, so don't criticise that too much. But yeah, it was actually a really good race. Sutil pulled off a couple of good overtakes into strange places, the hairpin and can't remember the other one, but he's really good at overtaking around Monaco, though he did crash out in the end, bringing out another safety car, which infuriated Hamilton because he knew he had to come in. He just knew it. He's that type of guy. He knows everything. But yeah, I wouldn't blame the team there. And Rosberg obviously has first choice, as he was in the lead. And then Hamilton obviously had something in his eye earlier on. Just such a bad weekend for him. Mentally and on the track. I think people's opinions have changed a bit of Hamilton from earlier on this season, because I started to actually like him, but based on this weekend, not so much. In another incident, Hülkenberg's overtake on Magnussen, I think it was, just before the tunnel. Fantastic move, opportunistic. Magnussen won the Cena coming, but just shows what a great driver Hülkenberg is. It was a fantastic move. Obviously I'm going to go through the results and analyse each driver individually, but just going through the main incidents during the race. Obviously Gutierrez span out as well, which nearly brought out a safety car. He's just not good enough to be in F1. It's a silly mistake. He could have got points, and that's what eventually aided Bianchi to get some points. And then obviously with Hamilton's eye issue, Ricciardo was closing in on him. It's so disrespectful of Hamilton, saying that he doesn't care about Ricciardo, because Ricciardo was closing in so quickly, and I would have loved to see Ricciardo overtake Hamilton. Hamilton was just acting like a petulant child all weekend, really, in my opinion, and he hasn't done his reputation any good whatsoever. But obviously Rosberg got the win in the end, 9 seconds ahead. He was dominant all weekend in my opinion, and deserved the win. Hamilton, we've talked a lot about, and not good at all. I don't really want to talk about him that much either. So Ricciardo, once again, fantastic drive from him. He's really surprised me this season. I thought he'd be nowhere, maybe in the lower points, but that's his second podium in a row, so good job from him. Just behind Hamilton. Shame he couldn't overtake him at the end, but obviously Monaco barely any overtaking spots. 4th was Alonso, pretty anonymous for most of the race. He was last season as well, if I remember correctly. He must have finished like 8th, I think. But some solid points for him and Ferrari. Wasn't the best of performances, was on his own for most of the race, so couldn't really do too much, and was being outperformed by Raikkonen. Hülkenberg in 5th, solid points for him once again, proving how consistent he is, and especially with that overtake on Magnussen just before the tunnel. I love that so much. Button 6th, another one who we didn't see too much of. Obviously he was involved with Perez on the first lap, and it wasn't his fault whatsoever, but the McLaren's underperforming, and they really need to sort it out, because they really should be near the front, because effectively they're like the 5th or 6th best car, which is a real shame for them. Obviously as a Ferrari fan it doesn't bother me as much, but they need to improve. Massa 7th on an interesting strategy. I'm sure he was on the super softs for like 40 odd laps, which is really impressive. Tyre performance wasn't too bad, and obviously got him a few points in the end, and from 16th on the grid, a great performance there. Grosjean 8th, another 4 points for Lotus, so he's grinding the best out of the Lotus car, which isn't the greatest. Obviously he was running at the back of the field for a lot of the race. I think he did extra pit stops for some reason, but it worked out for him in the end because of the high attrition rate of quite a few drivers having engine issues and crashing out. Bianchi, first points from Marussia. It was a great performance. I was cheering him on all the way. I really wanted him to get points. And obviously he got that penalty, which obviously he made a mistake there, parking in the wrong grid spot at the start of the race, but in a one-stop race where the pit stop is under the safety car, I think it's pretty unfair to give him another penalty, because how else was he supposed to take his 5-second penalty? But luckily enough, he did get some points. Marussia's first points in 5 seasons, so well done to them. Magnussen in 10th. I think he was having some engine issues or something, and then Raikkonen went for a bit of an opportunistic move and cocked it up, to be honest, put Magnussen into the wall, but he recovered to get a point. But he is having a disappointing season ever since his podium in the first race. Ericsson 11th vacation, their best ever result as well, and obviously unlucky to miss out on a point, because I'm not very impressed with Ericsson. Took out Massa in qualifying. He's a pay driver in my opinion, just like Maldonado, not good enough to be an F1, but I'm sorry to say that. Raikkonen really could have had a podium this weekend, so it's a shame he didn't get that. He obviously had to pit twice behind the safety car. I'm not sure why. I think Chilton might have hit him or something. I heard that. I think Kobayashi and Chilton 3 laps behind. That really surprised me. They could have been miles even further behind if there were no safety cars. But Kobayashi and Bianchi's coming together at round Rascas, I think the corner's called. I think Bianchi was so lucky there. He touched Kobayashi's car 3 times, opportunistic move, and he got it done in the end, so respectable, I'll accept that. And obviously the retirees were Gutierrez, who crashed. He really should have got points. Bottas, engine issues. Verne really should have got top 6, but obviously unsafe release, which was poor from the team, cost him some points even though his engine blew up later on. Sutil, very unspectacular once again, even though he did a couple of good moves on the back markers. Kvyat, impressive driver, really impressed with him this season. He's definitely got some potential. And Vettel, Maldonado, Perez. So that was the Monaco Grand Prix, really enjoyable. I really enjoyed it this weekend. In 2 weeks it is Canada, and I hope to catch you then in the next review video.